So I guess the first thing I want to know is like, how did you and Teddy Pendergrass first meet?
It's a long story, but I'll make it quite short. A family member passed away, and I tried to get in touch with Teddy to tell him that she had passed away. And I had no other way to find him but to call the Montgomery Police Department and ask them on Easter Sunday to go to his house and tell him that this woman is looking for him. Her name is Joan, and she had something to tell him. And so the police went to his house and told him that I was looking for him. And he called me around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was quite angry that I had sent the police to his house. And I told him what happened, and he said thanks, and he hung up the phone. And 15 minutes later, he called me back, and he said, Joan? I said, yes. He said, Joan from Boston? I said, absolutely, yes, who she is. And he said to me, does it have to take your cousin Isis to pass away for me to meet you? I heard a lot about you. And he hung up the phone, and he called me back again. And he said, the person who you have the nerve to send the police to my house, I would really love to meet you, because that takes a lot of nerve. And so a couple weeks later, I was on my way to California to work, and he said, do you mind stopping in and see me so I could meet you? Prior to that, I had sent him a photo of myself, and it was not a very flattering photo. So when I walked into the house, I rang the doorbell, and I heard the wheelchair coming, and the nurse opened the door. And he looked at me and he said, oh my God, your picture do you no justice. You're so beautiful. And I said to him, oh my God, you're so handsome. What beautiful white teeth you have. And I walked over to him and I gave him this big hug and this big kiss. And at the time, he was very frail. He had surgery for throat cancer. So he was being fed by a tube. And he was very dark and very, very frail. And we started talking, and one thing led to another. And the following week, we was talking on the phone back and forth. And the following Saturday morning, he called me and he said, I'm not feeling well. Do you mind asking the girls to drive you down to Philadelphia? And I said, are you kidding? He said, yeah, ask them. And at the same time, my youngest daughter was upstairs and heard me talking on the phone. And throughout that week, Teddy and I had been talking, and I had been laughing so loud. And my daughter says, oh, Mommy, I haven't seen you laugh like this in a long time.
Wow.
We were just talking throughout that week as if we had known each other. So when he called me, and then my daughter came down, and she says, Mommy, do you really want to go? And I said, yes. How am I going to go? She said, Mommy, can you get ready and be at the airport within an hour and a half? And I said, sure. So I ran upstairs. I took a pair of jeans. I put it on. I took a shirt, put it in the bag, put my meds, and I was on the plane. I didn't call him and tell him I was able to make it or not. All I did by 12 o'clock that day, that Saturday, I was ringing his doorbell.
Wow.
And when they told him it was me, he came to the door, he just stayed stunned with his mouth wide open. He was like, what? He says, oh my God, I'm not letting you go anywhere.
Wow.
He said, for you to be here. And I walked in the house, and I made went to the supermarket, made some soup, and I told him, I'm going to nurture you back to good health. And we just started a relationship that way.
Wow. Wow.
So, quite...
I mean, if you haven't guessed already, we're sitting here with Joan Pendergrass, who was married to the late Teddy Pendergrass, for how many years before us?
We were dating 2 years prior to us getting married, and then almost 2 years married. And then, unfortunately, he was taken away from us and from me. So short.
Yeah, no, I hate to use the word widow, because I feel like he's here, he's always here, he's always in the music. And the reason why we're together is because in October in Philadelphia, there's going to be a very special exhibit curated by Joan, along with a film screening that we've curated at the African American Museum. Can you let folks know about it?
Well, I want to back up a little bit.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Teddy and my cousin died on Good Friday, and we met on Easter Sunday, so that was really special to him. He always thought that he was looking, and he felt that God took a rib from him made me and placed me in his lap. That's his words. So when I talk about Teddy, it may sound strange to people, but I always talk about him in the presence because I feel like he's all around me every day, protecting me, guiding me, and strengthening me, because that's what he did when he was alive. So I always feel like he's right here with me. So I understand you when you talk about the music, not in the past tense, but in the present tense. The African American Museum, October 28th, is going to be a traveling exhibition, a cocktail event, and a traveling exhibition. About a year plus ago, I did some interviews and said that we were doing this traveling exhibition, partnering up with Philadelphia International Records. What happens now, the Teddy and Joan Pendergrass Foundation is sponsoring the first exhibition and cocktail event. And I'm excited about it. I'm so thrilled about it because we are also unveiling the Teddy and Joan Pendergrass Foundation to the world. And what we are doing, the foundation goal or mission, is to continue the work that Teddy started. Is to help people with spinal cord injury, to give them a normal life, give them the opportunity to be able to sustain themselves through education, housing, etc. Transitioning. As you know, there are about 11,000 people diagnosed every year with spinal cord injury. And in the United States alone, there's over 250,000 people that live with spinal cord injury. And we need to help them, give them the opportunity to be productive member of society. Right. And on the 29th of October, which is the Saturday, we team up with Real Black. You're going to play a film?
Saturday the 29th, 2016, we're going to show a rare concert performance of Mr. Pendergrass from his very first solo tour. If you know the LA Live from Coast to Coast album, this was a video that was made, that was released commercially alongside that release, but it was released in the very earliest days, like 1979.
Right.
Of VHS. Very few copies still exist, and it's never been on DVD. Now, they've done a great job in terms of making sure that your husband's music and concerts are available to people, but this is something that you're not, unless you're like a big fan, you've never seen this in its entirety. So, yeah. So
I'm excited about that as well, and I'm so happy that you're supporting Teddy. And how this month came about is you, Deanna, you got in touch with Deanna, and Deanna gave you my number, and you called me, and it sort of helped us to do what we're doing today. And I really appreciate the fact that you are doing your best to keep my husband's legacy alive. I really appreciate that, and all of our members do.
Well, I mean, there's so many people that love him, and we want to spread the love. So, in addition to the screening afterwards, we're going to have a conversation with people that worked with Teddy in his band or friends or whatever, just to share memories. Because like I say, he's always around. I mean, it's very hard to go a day or a week without hearing one of his songs, especially here in Philadelphia. So.
And the Friday night event, it's $100, and it's worth the $100. You're going to see rare items of Teddy, and we are also partnering up with McGee Rehab Hospital. As you know, that's where Teddy got his care from the time of the accident till the day he died. And so we have partnered up with them, and part of the proceeds are going to go to McGee. And our goal at McGee is to be able to eventually build a music room to help quads who have the talent to be able to help them in that way. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, you clearly were brought from heaven sent, like I say. People will. I'm sure there are lots of people around, Teddy when he was up. But I mean, you're there in his most private moments, and I'm sure some painful moments. But I mean, what are some of the memories? I mean, I'm sure many are very private, but what are some things that you remember that come to, like, at this moment? What do you see of Teddy?
Teddy, I want to say that I had the best years of Teddy's life. And a lot of people who knew Teddy have told me Teddy was a different person with me. He was not always that person. And I remember saying to him one day, I said, honey, that painting on that wall, I don't know if I would have ever fallen in love with that person, but the man in the wheelchair, that's my baby. That's the man I fell in love with. So Teddy was the kind of person who loved to make me laugh. I mean, he would just give jokes and sit back in his wheelchair, push himself back, and chuckled. The more I laughed, is the more he chuckled, and the more he made me laugh. And the louder I laughed, he just enjoyed watching me laugh and being happy. And his strength. I mean, when I met Teddy, I said, there's no reason for me to complain. Here's this man at the height of his career, got knocked down, and he's still standing. He's not standing on his feet, but he's standing upright. He's the same man. And he never complained. And he always appreciated all the little things in life. And I guess he probably never had the opportunity. Little things. I bring him a little Hershey's chocolate, which was his favorite thing. He would just enjoy that. A little t-shirt, a little pair of sneakers, because I work for New Balance Athletic Shoe. I would have special shoes made for him. And he just was besides himself.
Wow.
And he treated me equal. He didn't treat me like, less than. He respected me, and I was self-made, and he respected that. So he wasn't threatened by that, and I wasn't threatened by him. So we came like we were a partner. We came 50-50.
So
Yes.
What I'm hearing is like what his music was about was what he was about. I mean, it seems like it's a lost art. He kind of seduced you over the phone.
Ooh, yes. It's weird when I say that, but I heard Teddy's music before, but I never paid attention to the artist. Not until that Sunday night when I spoke to Teddy did I realize that this was the man I had been listening to in my sad times. And I just looked at it as listening to that CD kind of saved my life, because I won't talk about that incident that caused me to say this right now, but he had been part of me for a very long time and didn't know it was Teddy Pendergrass, So that night, and he says to me, do you really know who I am? And I say, not really, and then he sent me the snippet, and I listened to the song, and I'm like, I know this guy. And I went where I had that CD that I had tucked away, the CD that made me laugh, made me cry, made me happy, made me whatever.
Wow.
And I looked at the artist was Teddy Pendergrass.
Wow.
So one of the things that when Teddy was transitioning the last week before he transitioned, he said to me that he was a legend, and I never heard him spoke like that, because he was never a boastful person to me. And for me to hear him say that, he says, honey, do you know I'm a legend? And I said, yes. And he said, I want to be remembered not as that artist, but I want to be remembered as the person who tried to help people with the same thing that I have, which is spinal cord injury, to give them the opportunity. That's what I want you to focus on. And that's why I'm here, because I promised my husband that I was going to take his fight, his dream, and make it everybody's and some people's reality. One of the projects that Teddy was working on with before he passed was to build the project was to build a school, an academy for people with spinal cord injury, to house them and educate them. And I believe today that is our final goal in my lifetime, to see that happen and accomplish that. And the members on the board are excited, and they are genuine, and I love working with them. And we're only 5, but we work very hard to make sure that Teddy's dream comes alive.
We want to help as well. So we want to help preserve the legacy. So on October 28th at the African American Museum, we can share memories. You're bringing some things from the collection.
Many things.
What are a couple things that people will have a chance to experience?
There are so many things I won't really tell. I want you to come out and fellowship with us. and feel the love, share the love. One of the things I was thinking about driving down here yesterday, when I listened to every song of Teddy, which was eloquently written by Gamble and Hoff, Whitehead, etc., it was all about love. It was not one of the songs that you listen to, the words that made you angry. And when you listen at music today, some of the music pushes you to be violent, to be angry, to be bitter, to be resentful. But there is not one of the Teddy songs that says hate. It's all about love. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. And it was written so long ago, but when you listen to the words today,
it still fits.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope that his music continues, and I hope that the younger generation get to know who Teddy really was, and the impact he still have on the world today.
Yeah, and we're going to share that. And I mean, again, you're such a lucky person to be able to spend that time with somebody like a real man who understood the value of this. And you know, I think that's my Wake Up Everybody is my favorite, and then Joy a close second. Okay. Is there one that you
my
go back to?
My favorite is Latest and Greatest Inspiration, because he inspired me. He inspired me. He pushed me to reach the top of my potential, and it was a really great experience. And I thank God to have ever crossed paths in my journey of life with him. Hi, my name is Joan Pendergrass, and you're watching Real Black. Is that it?
Yeah, you're in the club.
Yay!
Oh my! The role of the griot. The griot is a storyteller from Africa. You know, I'm thinking of a famous ending that I read in the African folk tales. This my story. If it be sweet or if it not be sweet, take some elsewhere and let some come back to me.
Communities like this got ravaged in the early '80s when crack cocaine swept through, and it destroyed families, destroyed people's lives, and destroyed communities. And so hopefully by telling a very micro story about this particular family, we'll be able to tell a bigger story at the same time.